Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Hey, Dorothy. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
That was some show we had last week, huh?
Yes, it was.
With Peggy Grandy.
She was fantastic.
A lot of people went to see her speak at that Reagan dinner, and she was at the Country Bookshop. I've been in communication with her since last week, and she's hoping to come back. We're putting her in touch with John Arnold in conjunction with the Ruth Pauley lecture series.
Oh, she would be a good one for Ruth Pauley. I never even thought of that.
Oh, I think she would be great. Her story of civility brings back a completely different time. How our political environment from the 1980s to today has changed, and remembering that time period is it really is soothing. We are going to be talking about the Moore County Chamber of Commerce today.
Okay.
And we're not going back to the 1980s like Peggy Grandy did. We're going to go back to 2000. Okay. We're going to talk about let me ask you a question.
Okay.
We have a lot of shows about Moore County, and the theme is always Moore County is a great place to live.
Yes.
So if you look at the engine of what makes a county so successful, right? You have schools.
Yes.
Right? You have a vital chamber of commerce, which helps to assist the many business people that are coming in and out of town. And with all the changing demographics, and we're just going to go back to 2000, we're going to get a perspective on the chamber then, the chamber during the 2000s, and the chamber today. Because today we're speaking to a completely different audience than we would have spoken to in 2007.
Yeah,
that was
I'm
here. It's, you know that expression, you have to speak to other people's listening?
Yeah.
So we have three guests with us today, and I want to introduce them, and they are specializing in knowing how to speak to other people's listening. Linda Parsons is the president and CEO of the Moore County Chamber. And Linda, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
It's only been a couple of years of us trying to get you to come and talk to us, but you're here.
I am here, and I'm glad to be here today.
So I moved here in 1999, and you moved here in 2000, at the end of 2004.
That's correct.
I would venture to say that you and I have a similar perspective on the many changes that have gone on since that time to today, the 14 years.
It has changed. It's evolved. It has brought some wonderful energy, but it's also brought to the community issues and challenges for government organizations like ourselves, where we have to evolve and change with the times.
Right.
I can honestly say that the Chamber in 2005 is not the same organization that it is today. But I think that's a good thing. We're evolving. We're changing. We've been around for 51 years, and I look forward to someday this organization celebrating 100th birthday or anniversary, shall we say. But to get there, you can't remain the way you were in 1968
right.
or 2004.
Right.
You have to continually evolve.
You remind me of that expression that we learned growing up, that you can never go home, because when you do, you go back to a different place in what you remember.
Correct.
And you're coming up on an anniversary this year? Is there an anniversary this year coming up?
We had our 50th anniversary last year.
That's okay.
So it was last year. So in March, we threw ourselves a great anniversary party, but it was really to celebrate all of the members throughout the years that have invested in the organization.
Okay.
And that's really what it takes. And some of those businesses still exist today. We have over 15 businesses that were members in the 1960s that are still members today. Wow. And they still are doing business, and they're still a part of our organization. But that longevity of a business remaining a member of the chamber has changed throughout the years because their needs and desires have changed as well.
What do you tell people? Because one of the conversations that always comes up, especially in our business, a real estate business, what's happened to the average age in Moore County from the time you've gotten here to today?
It's dropped significantly. When my husband interviewed for his position here in the community, we were considered and so young.
Yeah.
And
They were burping you guys when you got
basically. So, we're in our early 30s when we moved here.
Right.
And it was considered and deemed a retirement community, but it was appealing to us because it was a great place to start a family and be a part of a community. And today, seeing strollers around town or a shop with people with their cup of coffee or possibly a military person coming home from deployment is not unusual today. That was unusual in 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
There were a few of us. We didn't even have a young professionals group, and today we do, and that's an important component of the chamber. There weren't enough of us, I guess, then to really create it, and now today, that's just part of our community.
You and Reagan came here from Columbus, Ohio. I remember in 2004 when the county was courting you.
No.
No, I do remember. And they made you feel right at home.
They did.
Did you worked in Ohio? Grew up in Ohio?
I did. I grew up in the Toledo area, and I went to school in Delaware, Ohio, at Ohio Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Majoring in government, politics and government, and was fortunate enough to land a job in Columbus for the governor's office. And I worked for 2 governors, and then I was fortunate enough to be recruited by the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. So I've been in the chamber industry for over 18 years and was lucky enough when Reagan got the position here to take my skills that I had gotten there and use them at the Moore County Chamber.
You've brought a couple of guests with you, and I want to introduce them as well and just briefly talk with everybody. Jana Velitis, did I say it right?
You said it right, Bill.
If I don't, you can shoot me.
You wouldn't be the first to mispronounce it.
Or my name either. I'm used to it too, so thanks. You're the Communications and Operations Coordinator or Director for the Chamber.
Correct.
You have an interesting story about how you got here because Linda has recruited a team that didn't exist 3-4 years ago?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. This is my team that I've been able to create due to their strengths, and it's very exciting.
And Jenna, when did you get to Moore County?
So I've been here in Moore County since June of 2016 and came to work with Linda and Holly in September of 2016, just after the Labor Day holiday. So just celebrated my 1-year anniversary this past September. It is just still December of 2017, right?
No,
Time
it's
is
February.
flying by. Time is flying by.
What brought you to Moore County?
So when, first off, let me go back just a little bit. But
Sure.
I was a small business owner, stay-at-home mom, and running a small photography business. And I really wanted to find stable work while my kids were starting school, where I was home on the weekends.
Yeah.
So I fell into the Chamber of Commerce industry in Texas, wanting a 9-to-5, working for the business community, really having a passion for small businesses and local commerce, keeping money right at home. And in doing so, with a military relocation, reached out to info@moorecountychamber.com for a relocation packet. One of the many things that we do as the Chamber of Commerce is send out information to people looking to relocate here.
Right.
A lot of those are military families today.
Right.
So I did that, and a couple weeks later, with a nudge of Holly, Linda had reached back to me asking if I had a resume and would consider working again in the chamber industry after coming to Moore County. So that's how the relationship started, kind of organically, and we joke about it all the time, but we really, all 3 of us come from different walks of life,
Yeah.
and that is what brought me here.
Yeah, and Moore County is full of people who come from different walks of life.
Exactly.
It's not Southern like people think when they are first making an inquiry. It's a beautiful blending from New England, the Midwest, even
is.
the Florida area. You've mentioned Holly twice, so let me introduce you, Holly. Good morning. Holly Neal, you're the Membership Development Director.
Yes, that's correct. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good. I'm tired of always having people at the table who are so much younger than me that I said, well, I'm going to just kind of pull up my sleeves and try to relate. I mean, it used to be in 2004 when Linda got here, you were the youngest people in the room, right?
Yes, we were.
I remember that vaguely. I have forgotten it now. So tell me your story. How did you get to Moore County?
Okay. I actually born and raised in Sanford, so right up the street, should I say?
Okay.
I worked at the Pinehurst Resort prior to. Was there for about 10 years. Been at the chamber now for almost 3, and Linda used to host events. I was one of the event planners at the resort, and
That's why I know your name. Okay. Okay.
and I'd planned all the chamber's events, and Linda kind of courted me for a couple years as well, trying to get me to potentially come to the chamber, and just happened to be one of those days that just kind of fell right into place, and she recruited me to come work at the chamber.
2017 and 2018. Your focus, there have been a lot of changes going on. You've moved. Everybody knew the Chamber of Commerce over on 15501. It was in the day, when I say in the day, I'm saying 2004 to 2007. 15501, the corridor, was not dotted as densely as it is today, and the Chamber building stood out. What happened? You all decided to, you sold the building.
We did. About 5 years ago, the Chamber Board of Directors really evaluated what is our core mission and purpose, and is it really to manage and be a landlord to a building and all of the headaches that can bring, or is it to serve the membership and the community? And we saw on the wall, the writing on the wall, should you say, that 15501 was going to be changing. We knew that there was some transportation projects coming down the pipe. It was a desire to put the building on the market to see if anybody bid. It wasn't a need. It wasn't. We weren't in a financial situation where we had to do that.
All right.
So for 4 years, pretty much my tenure as president and CEO, the building was on the market, and we did receive multiple offers. And last November, we closed on that building, and we've closed that chapter. But I'd have to say that the people that invested in that building almost 30 years ago allowed us to be the organization that we're becoming today. And we are critically looking at to see, what do we want to do? What is our next step? What type of building do we need? Do we need to buy a building, build a building, lease a building? So we're in a temporary location that's working out. It may not be the most visible and maybe the most easy to access, but people are finding us. In fact, we gave out relocation packets the day we moved. Luckily, Jana and Holly had prepared those, so we were able to access those quickly. But I think it's giving us an opportunity to take that step back, rebrand who we are, strategically put in place a plan to move us forward the next 3 to 5 years. And that is something, as a team, we're doing internally some research, and then we're going to be hiring an outside facilitator to take the organization to that next step. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect the same result. It has to be different. It has to evolve.
What are the major challenges of addressing the new culture in Moore County so that the Chamber of Commerce is as relevant as it was 10 years ago?
Well, you can't look at one business and expect that business has the same needs and desires as the next business.
Right.
So last year we launched a tiered dues structure, which allowed the business community to find a track that fits their business. So when Holly's out selling or Jana's out selling a membership, they're able to identify that business's needs. Maybe it might be using a conference room, might be more young professional memberships. And so we were able to package those into different tiers. Previously, we had 42 different levels of membership, and it was based on total number of employees. We now have 10.
Okay.
It is simple. It's not all about being at an event. It used to be you had to go to something and be somewhere. Now it's about social networking through social media, which we have great abilities through Jana. And to be honest, Holly might find something over the weekend and she'll post it. And it's an enthusiastic way. You can't stop. It isn't a 9-to-5 organization anymore. It is a 24/7 world that we live in with instant access and instant gratification. People expect it immediately.
I think she has eyes on the side of her head. As she was speaking, I wrote down 2 words, social media. So help me. I put 2 asterisks, and you brought it up. So in 2000, when I started my business, 4 Properties, so we sat down, we set up our business. What was the first thing we did? We have to join the chamber. We have to be, it was almost like part of the structure of the business. And I think a lot of businesses that started around then all felt the same way. We didn't have the strong presence of social media. We didn't have the ability to put ourselves out there electronically or digitally. So in some ways, social media is a blessing, but is it competition?
I think a little bit. I actually just read a report this morning. It's the Horizons report for Chambers of Commerce, and it does talk about the global world we live in.
Yeah.
And the competition, but I don't look at it as competition. I look at it as an opportunity.
Right.
And I think what's important is not every business today should be a member of the chamber. And whereas before, maybe it was how big can we grow? How big can we grow? How many members can we get? It's better to have the business community that sees the value and benefit to be a part of the organization versus how many people can we get in a year. And so instead of being a 1,000-member organization, we might be 650 strong, but they see the distinct value and benefits that we're providing. It could be Holly through the Moore County Leadership Program. It could be Jana through our Human Resources Executives Association. It could be, can you help me post this on Facebook? I don't know how to do it. And it could be a more seasoned business owner that's just exploring that world. So then we develop training to help those that have been in business longer that are trying to cope with this new world that we are all dealing with. And to
Right.
be honest, you only have a couple seconds to keep someone's attention.
Right.
And we all live with time poverty. We all are being pulled to an event, to a program, to our families, to a soccer tournament or
Yep.
whatever it may be.
Yep.
And so we are competing with all of those things technically. But if we can deliver the value and show that you're right, there was a time and place where people said, well, I got to join the chamber. I just open my doors. That's the first thing I do.
That's right.
They don't do that anymore.
That's right.
And to be honest with you, in their first couple of years in business, they need to concentrate on their business.
Right.
We would love to help them on that journey.
Right.
But maybe it's better for them in year 3 when they're a little more established and they can get out.
Let's come back in the second set. We've had a chance to speak a little bit to everybody. Linda mentioned the Moore County Leadership Institute. What a program that is. We had a show on that program a few years ago. Mm-hmm. It always seems to recruit the brightest and the best. And today, that program is probably more relevant than anything that we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. Our topic today, all day, is the Moore County Chamber of Commerce. I've been a member myself for, 16, 17 years. And we've all seen so many changes in the county over the time, the demographics, jobs, the number of entrepreneurs, independently owned businesses. all that makes up the ingredients of a successful and a vibrant county. Today, people are always looking for value. Does it resonate with them? Is it something that they can hook up with? What's in it for them? And with the younger generations, even more so than ever. Jana, you're intimately involved in the marketing end and being in touch with and listening to the pulse out there in Moore County.
Absolutely.
And as a result, I mean, you have, you can give us a broad overview of what today's programs in the Chamber can offer people.
Absolutely. So one thing that we started to notice was that with the younger generation, you only have a minute or two
Yeah.
to grab their attention when you're talking about the programs you offer.
Yeah.
With that being said, a lot of our young professionals are looking for, first of all, their return on investment, but who are they networking with?
Yeah.
So our events and programs, they span a broad spectrum, anywhere from a networking event in the evenings so that they can work a full day. They may not have families to go home to, so an evening function is perfect for them, to a morning coffee or commerce with the president where they can really share their thoughts about what's going on in the community. Those all happen before work. To a lunchtime meeting. The Edge is a great program that has evolved, Roundtable, and then evolved into The Edge. It's a networking and discussion group really focused on the meat and potatoes, what's going on at work, how can we all bounce ideas off of each other, help you problem solve some things that you may not otherwise have access to those resources. So our events, they're evolving and they're ever changing. Like Linda said, that's one thing we have to keep an eye on the pulse of what our businesses need. So those events and programs change. They're fluid. If we all of a sudden notice that our members really need to know what's going on in the technology field, our first in-house training this year is going to be held on February 23rd in the morning with US Cellular, and it's all about IoT, which is Internet of Things, and the revolution of technology in business. Where is it taking us, and where are we going with that? Something that our members have shown an interest in. You know, what does it mean when I can ask my Google to turn on my thermostat and start my coffee before I even get to work? That's not something we would have seen 4 or 5 years ago. It's not a training that the Chamber would have offered.
Right.
So there's definitely a shift in the type of trainings or the type of networkings that we provide, but we also want to cover all spectrum. So we have a Human Resource Executive Association, which provides professional development just to the human resource field. It's very specific to their needs. So the chair of that committee will get to choose the presentations and speakers because they know exactly what they want. It's not something that we sit as a staff and go, okay, I'm an expert in this field. So we ask them to provide that information.
However, if I can interject too, we
Holly?
do have some small business owners who will come to the HREA, as we like to call it, events, just if they have questions and things, and that's just a good group to have for the small business owners who want to kind of step up and be like, I have a question about XYZ, and those other HR professionals can help them with that as well.
Right.
Exactly. And to bounce off what Holly said, we've recognized the needs of our small business owners. They're not human resource professionals.
Right.
They're also not marketing specialists. They may have a passion for painting or cooking or whatever, and we would like to offer them the opportunity to grow in all aspects of their business by providing these events and programs that help them become a well-rounded business owner.
Yeah.
So those are a few of the things. Like to highlight that all of our events and programs can be found on our brand new website. That's
Right.
part of our branding initiative. They're easier to find than they were before. So if you go to our website and you clicked on the Connect tab, it will list all of the events and programs that we now offer. If anybody has questions, they can also contact us at the office. But you can find that information at moorecountychamber.com. Pretty simple.
One of the things I've noticed, we talked about social media a little bit and people who network. You've mentioned network like 3 or 4 times.
Correct.
There's so many different networking groups in Moore County, but if the Chamber can be at the cutting edge of that to offer network opportunities for their business people, that's a very smart thing to do. The role of your ambassadors today is different than it was 10 years ago, isn't it?
Correct, yes. And Holly has done a great job at reinvigorating that program. She took the due diligence to launch that in 2017.
Uh-huh.
And Holly, tell us, how did 2017 go? You had ambassadors quarterly who were bringing home the bacon, so.
Right, absolutely. I think the ambassador program this year, it actually had went away. Linda kind of When did that?
About 3 years ago, we kind of folded it. And in part, it was due to size of staff and abilities and enthusiasm level. And Holly, as Jenna stated, saw the need for us to bring it back into a new set of volunteers that really were excited to do it.
And they kind of hit the streets for us, and they go around and call or go visit our membership base just to say, hey, don't forget the chamber's here. They kind of go on the months that we aren't able to get out as a staff to see every single one of the members, and they help us to get new members, and they help us with events. All of our events that we host, our ambassadors will volunteer for those events, and for our golf classic, they're driving beverage carts, and they're passing out beer and doing lots of different things for all avenues for all events for us.
I will tell you that I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the ambassadors. I am familiar with Ashley Haddock. She has taken, and all the ambassadors are catalysts. They reach out to the community.
Absolutely.
Then they go back, and guess what they do? They go on to all the other levels of social media to get the word out about what they're doing.
Yep.
And layer upon layer upon layer of impressions are made. And I look at someone like her. She's 29 years old. She's as networked.
She
is there are so many different departments in her brain.
Yes.
And she's always out doing something, and she's a prime example of what the new generation of chamber members
she absolutely
should be
is
all about.
yes.
And I'm sure there are many others.
There are we have several ambassadors actually
Yes.
that help us with that. We actually have created kind of a guideline to see, just to try to keep it at a max of like 35. So we're in our first year, and we had 25 last year. So we're kind of close to that max, which we're really proud of. And we can't do chamber anything without the ambassadors and all of the help that they give us.
I would say to people who are moving to the area, let's say it's a military spouse who had a career elsewhere. She comes here. She wants to connect. She wants to meet people. Looking into the ambassador program, what a great way to put somebody in touch with different facets of business in the community. And I always used to say, and Linda might appreciate this, and I hope she agrees, in Moore County, it's not like an urban area. You can make a name for yourself within 2 years. It's like a lifetime. If you know how to network properly and you know which avenues to go down, you can actually be somebody very quickly. Not always the case in a large urban area. And that's one of the great attractions, I think, to Moore County. And I don't think that's changed.
No, I don't think it has. And through ambassadors or human resource executives and all the different programs, people have the opportunity in an environment that they're most comfortable with. Possibly they're more comfortable being with the human resource group. And so that's where they target and they get to network. Maybe they are a new person to the community, whether military or not, who had a professional career and is trying to network. So maybe they join as an associate member of the chamber, get involved. There are so many different opportunities. Networking is always going to be a part of our world. How we network is what's changed. In 5 years, you and I might be sitting here again talking about some other new fandangled technology thing that the chamber is involved with because it's the new up-and-coming thing. You know, we use our cell phones in a way that we didn't use them even 5 years ago.
That's right.
We tag ourselves if we're out to dinner. You use it in just a different way, and you have to continue to evolve with that. But networking is how you will grow your business.
I loved your outline that you supplied to me, but I just want to read through some of the advantages of being a chamber member. The areas of service within the Moore County Chamber of Commerce that you can take part in, you can connect to potential clients. You can build your professional network. You can market your business. You can represent your business interests. There's professional development opportunities, local advocacy, and overall exposure to the community. Independent contractors can't get that by having their home office and sitting by themselves. And if they're just doing it on Facebook or Instagram, they're kind of anonymous, but you can get face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball in front of people, and that's organic, and that works.
Correct. We call that the grip and grin. That
grip
is
and grin.
The grip and grin. And I bring that little phrase from Texas because we had an ambassador in Texas, wore a cowboy hat everywhere he went, and it truly is wherever you go,
Yep.
but more so in Moore County, it is a face-to-face community. You know somebody because you shook their hand,
Right.
you've traded a business card, or you've had dinner or drinks with them. And that's one of the areas of the chamber that I don't think will ever change. Regardless of where we evolve to or where we go, you will continually need to put yourself in front of other people and present yourself in a manner that you're doing serious business.
When you came in my office last week, you used that expression, grip and grin, and I looked at you like you were speaking Spanish. I'd never heard of it. Last week...
I was speaking Texan.
Okay. So last week, I was sitting here with Peggy Grandy, and she was sitting to my left. And the gentleman who was escorting her around to her different publicity events, at the end said, "Okay, I need a grip and grin picture." And I looked at him like he was speaking Spanish. I didn't know what that was. That means you hold the book up with the author and you shake their hand.
Exactly.
And I was like, and my body language was like, huh? And I just didn't get, but you mentioned it again, so now that's in my head, grip and grin.
Grip and grin. I don't think, even when we all kind of came into the industry, it was just natural. When you meet somebody, you introduce yourself and you shake their hands. And more often than not, we're growing our membership organically through phone calls. People walking in the office, they see what we're doing or they hear about it in the community,
Right.
and they come to us. But it goes without saying that if it's an online application or even a phone call, we're asking them to come in for a membership orientation, or we're inviting them to an SBN lunch where they are face-to-face with other chamber members, because that is very important in this community, as it is in any community. It's not just about growing a business, it's about growing the person who can take home that
Yep.
to their family, and they're happy, and that helps us foster this vibrant business community that we have.
Yeah. We're going to come back in the third set. We are going to speak about the Moore County Leadership Institute and the Moore County the Young Professionals, and some of the things looking forward for the new and changing Moore County Chamber of Commerce. We'll be right back. We're back with our final set with the Moore County Chamber of Commerce, and during the break, there were some conversations going on. I mean, it's really funny. In Moore County, we have 5 generations living in Moore County right now. That's why the traffic circle has so many problems. You have a 17-year-old driver, and you have somebody that's 72, and they have different time schedules, and they just don't drive well together. But think of the challenge that the Chamber has, because they're trying to appeal to every generation that lives here. And every generation has a different set of ears and how they listen and what they grew up on. We want to talk about a couple of the specific programs that recognize either certain generations or certain types of people. And I guess we want to start, Jenna, with the Moore County or the Moore Young Professionals.
Yes, Bill. So the Moore Young Professionals, when I came on in 2016, late 2016, The discussion was they were coming back under the chamber. There was a group of professionals from the ages of 21 to 40 who are looking specifically to network and provide connection to one another. Not that they weren't interested in chamber membership, but that they were specifically interested in relationships with one another within their own age range. So as that group grew last year, they decided that they needed a more formal board, a more formal structure. So we were, as a staff, excited to hear that they would be taking on some different roles as the More Young Professionals for 2018. And since the beginning of the year, they have doubled in size. So they're up to about 45 members, and they meet monthly. They have a networking social, and towards the middle of the year, towards the end of the year, they're going to be adding some volunteering, philanthropy, and would like to host a couple of events and fundraisers specifically for their group. The More Young Professionals is a great group to get involved, but when we sat and talked and really dove into what their end goal was, it was they were all going to be seasoned chamber members by the next few years, and they're the ones who are looking to fill city council seats, to fulfill boards in the future. They're our next group of leaders, and this is just the baby step to get them in the door. Don't want to call it a JV chamber, but that's kind of what it is. It's a smaller level of chamber membership for these young professionals. And we're finding that they meet the needs of each other very, very well. Yeah. And in doing so, their network continues to grow. So it's just kind of a evolving program. We use the word evolving a lot, but it's whatever is relevant at the time, and that's really what they see of value. And a lot of it is just social and networking time, like we talked about before. Yeah. But moreover, they want to give back. This age group really wants to give back to their community, right, and step out and get their hands dirty and roll up their sleeves. And that's what this group is about as well.
As you were speaking, it just occurred to me, another challenge that the chamber has is the community today compared to 1980, 1990, 2000 is a lot more mobile. People will transfer. They'll come in, they'll live here for a few years, they'll move. It's not like the people who have moved to Moore County definitely stay here for 25 years.
Correct.
So you have like a revolving door today that didn't exist before.
We do. And Jack McClelland, he is leading our More Young Professional Group and sits on our board of directors for the Moore County Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. Jack said it perfectly at one of our board meetings that a lot of the More Young Professionals actually live maybe in Raleigh or Charlotte or elsewhere, but they do business in Moore County. So they come down here and they stay here because they're part of a larger organization and they need a network of professionals in this area. They're not raising a family here. So that mobility that we see far often, chamber membership isn't of interest to their company because they are their head corporation resides elsewhere. Sure. But we are able to provide to them that networking time, that philanthropy, getting involved and understanding, again, going back to Grip and Grin, that community here. Although we're not technically marketing their business as a chamber member, they're involved still just as much as any other member would be.
The other program that we've referenced today is the Moore County Leadership Institute. Is that still the name?
Yep, that's the name, otherwise known as MCLI, just for efficiency.
A couple of years ago, we had Andrew Lyons on, and I can't recall all the guests. And Andrew, I think, had gone through the program.
He went through the program. He also co-chaired the steering committee, right, and then eventually was on the board of directors, and he just rolled off the board of directors. So that's a great example of how the program led him through positions with the chamber.
Yeah, I don't know how he has time to work because he is so involved in so many different organizations.
Well, I've seen him in his corner office over at First Bank, diligently working the last couple of days. Okay. So
we have a fourth guest today I want to introduce who's joined us, and that's Ashley Wilson. Ashley is the current co-chair of MCLI, and Ashley, you actually went through the program, and you are a graduate of it.
Yes, sir. I went through the program last year and graduated in December, and then began the journey with my fellow co-chair Laura Douglas with the pilot, co-chairing this year and leading the new class.
Tell us, in your own words, what MCLI meant to you, what it is, and what you got out of it.
MCLI for me personally was a program that I discovered a part of myself that I thought was gone for a while. It really reignited a passion. And it was very exciting to see that person come out and to come out in Moore County and then now to come back and be a leader for the next class. That's been something that was an amazing experience, and I'm really fortunate to be able to share that experience with this new class.
How long have you lived in Moore County?
3 years.
Okay. What do you do?
I work at the Residence Inn in Southern Pines.
That's where I know your name.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and you're saying, Bill, why didn't you ever return my call? Oh, my God. That's where I know your name from.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you set down roots here, and but tell us specifically about the program. What did you do? What was your job description or your role during, and how long does the group last?
The program goes for a year. It begins in January and concludes again in December. So it's
Okay.
on an annual basis. It's 1 day a month that we ask our class members to come out, and we take them around Moore County. We teach them different opportunities and different things about leadership. One of my favorite leaders always said, "You win in life with people." And that's what MCLI is. It's taking these people and growing them into the leaders of tomorrow so that they can provoke changes in Moore County that maybe need to happen going forward.
In the program, you had a committee. Did you have a specific project that you adopted that you carried out?
Each year, the classes are instructed to do a project that
Okay.
benefits Moore County.
Okay.
Each year is different. The class is allowed to choose their own project. And then this year, we've also added a volunteering aspect. So you're going to see those MCLI class members out in their blue T-shirts and their volunteering attitudes to get out in the community. So we're excited to see what they do.
Can we ask you what project you were involved in?
The class project that we did last year with Jana was in my class as well.
Okay.
We had multiple projects. We had small projects as well as large ones. And our large group project was for the Coalition for Human Care, where we did a blitz effort of education to the community that it is there and that it is available.
Yeah, there's so many nonprofit organizations in Moore County that people don't know about, and they all have a great reason to be.
Absolutely.
Linda?
One of the great things that I think with the projects, every year it's a little different. She mentioned small projects, big projects, and this year they're doing the volunteer component. Every year creates an environment and an opportunity for them to give back, and the fact that they get to choose how they give back is what's been exciting, and you can see their fruits of their labor, I guess,
Yep.
all around the community. I mean, you think about there's a small little park in Midway Gardens over in Aberdeen that was built by a class. You see a garden for food up in Robbins. You may not see something. You may see an experience that people had, and so the class was able to give an experience to a group of people that benefits them and in their life journey. So what I think is exciting is for 28 years, am I right, Holly?
In the 29th now.
The 29th years. Okay, I keep missing
We're
a
still
year.
back in December of
Yeah,
2017. I
I
don't know
think
where the
it's-
year's going.
I think it's 2017, but for all of those years, we literally have the record of all the projects that have occurred.
Wow.
So if you see the little yellow dots on cars, I don't know
Right.
if you're familiar with the yellow dots on the backs of cars. It was
No.
called the Yellow Dot program, and that program was, years ago, where they worked with the police and fire departments to create a form that you can keep in your glove box. So if you are in an accident and you are unable to take care of yourself and you can't speak, you can open the glove box because they know you have that yellow sticker, and you can identify every medication you're on, if you have a disorder, if you might have a pacemaker, whatever your need is, because you can't speak, the emergency personnel would be able to know that. And that was an MCLI project. People don't know that. And that's okay that they don't know that.
Right.
But we know it, and it's exciting to us.
Wow. One of the byproducts of being a member of MCLI and going through the training and the volunteering are the relationships that you form with your team members, the people on your committee.
Yes, those relationships are relationships that the classmates carry with them for the rest of their life. I know in my class I made some really great relationships and some really great friendships.
She's looking at Jana as she said that.
Absolutely.
Her eyes, this is not TV, but I saw that.
Yes, I was very lucky to have found a great friend in Jana, and and it's using those friendships and those networking opportunities to grow your own business, to go back, to grow yourself, to grow as an individual, and to grow other people around you. And that's really what MCLI kind of fosters. It allows for that to happen.
Ashley, I'll ask you a question. Are you familiar with this expression? You know what you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know.
We actually discussed that in our debrief of class yesterday.
Oh, did you really?
That you don't know what you don't know.
And is that?
And that's something that we encourage the class, and we push them to actually find out those things. If you don't know an answer, go ahead, raise your hand, ask it, because that person sitting next to you might not even know that question should be asked. So you're educating each other, you're growing each other, and it's that relationship and partnership that we are hoping to build. And Laura and I are really excited to see this class starting to come together as we've just kicked off, and how they're growing and how they're learning.
So as a result of your participation, you were selected as one of 2 co-chairs. So you're like a coach this year for the new team coming in.
Yes, sir. That's a great way to put it. We've been discussing different things with sports, because everybody can relate to sports, and it gives that warm feeling and that leadership, because you do have to have that leadership when you're on a team, and that's what we are. We're a team.
Prior to your participation in MCLI, what was your association with the Chamber? You've been here for 3 years.
Member of the Chamber just as a business person.
Okay.
And then I became more involved in some of the networking things when I discovered that they were available, and putting those on my calendar and getting to know Holly and Linda very well. Being a part of the Chamber Ambassadors is also something that I do. And so it's just been a wonderful experience.
So from the time you landed here from Tennessee 3 years ago to today, what would you say the effect of your association with the Chamber has been?
Absolutely incredible, and an experience that I would never change. It's something that I look forward to events. I look forward to networking things. And really and truly, the 3 ladies in this room, and they're all going to roll their eyes at me, they make it something that is amazing, and they make it something that is so individual and so unique, and you feel like you as a person are special to them, and that your business is special to them, which then makes you want to do more for them and be more involved. If it wasn't for them, the Chamber couldn't function, couldn't do, and it wouldn't be as great as it is, and having the community that we have.
So you sound like you are A, grounded, and B, you have a pretty deep set of roots here now, don't you?
I would say that I do. I've kind of grown to love this area a lot more than I expected I would.
Yeah.
I'm not letting her go anywhere so long as I live here.
So that's just part of your reflections and your memories about the
Absolutely.
MCLI experience.
Absolutely. And I think, speaking just to compliment or to highlight some of the things Ashley said,
Okay.
I know Holly, being a graduate of the program as well,
Okay.
would tell you she feels the same way about some of her classmates.
Absolutely.
I think anybody who can give MCLI a year-long commitment, you're showing up once a month. The retreat day is eye-opening, is 2 days in January, but then it's once a month after that, is an invaluable time for you to really invest in yourself and in the people in your class.
So the class for 2018 is set.
Correct.
So who you're trying to reach out to for the class of 2019, and if there are people who are interested in signing up, help us out. How do we reach them? Who do you want to reach?
Really, it would be anybody in the community. We have lots of members of the community that are members of the Chamber that we always have someone, from First Health and St. Joe's, some of the big players, I guess I should say, in the community. And but it's not just for them. We love having them, but we want small business owners to kind of become a part of it as well, so that they can learn the community, and so that they can get exposed to different opportunities to volunteer in the community, or inform the relationships that you and Ashley just kind of discussed as well. So really any business in the community, or any professional.
Okay. I have to go back to Ashley for 1 second. So how you spoke was very compelling.
Thank you.
Yeah, right from the heart.
Thank
right?
you. Yes, it
And
definitely is.
And that translates. People
Yes.
get that. And she'd be a great spokesperson for the program.
I agree.
Huh?
She is a great
It's really right
spokesperson.
from the right from the heart.
Exactly.
The Moore County Chamber, the website is moorecountychamber.com.
Absolutely.
All this information that you've been talking about is available
Yep.
there for people to go to look at. And Linda, I want to give you the last word. Just to sum up where you want to see the chamber going in the next couple of years, just in your own words.
I would say that the Chamber is a community. We invite everybody to jump on board with us. It's a fun ride. It's something different, and we look forward to serving the community for another 50 years. I encourage people to ask questions and be a part of the environment that we've created.
Yeah, the Moore County Chamber is an important part of the engine of Moore County, just like the school system. And any vibrant county has to have a very vibrant chamber. Your leadership team is great, high energy, very genuine, and the camaraderie at the table is great to see. Only we can see it though. And Ashley, you were great.
Thank you very much.
I would say we're a family,
Yeah,
and our members are part of our family.
well put.
Absolutely.
Please go ahead and look at the Moore County Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to Moore County. And for those people who have lived here and who have not, you are invited to do so. Thank you all for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's All Things Moore County. Have a great week. Thank you.